Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 8 of Script Supervisors, the podcast where we talk about movies and TV shows and video games and other things that go on in the entertainment industry.
Woo!
There will be time codes down in the description if you want to skip around to the different news segments or Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which we'll be talking about after we talk about all the news and trailers and stuff.
Yes.
As always, there will be a non-spoiler portion at the beginning, and then there will be a spoiler portion about halfway through the review. That way you can click off if you haven't seen it yet.
Standard procedure.
Yep, standard procedure.
Just remember, everyone dies.
Everyone dies. Everyone gets blown up. James Gunn
it's so sad.
Murdered everyone.
Yeah. Completely destroyed the MCU.
Yeah, about like 5 minutes into the movie, just everybody blows up and then it rolls the credits.
Yeah.
The movie's only 5 minutes long.
Incredible.
Yeah.
What a great artistic decision.
James Gunn, this is why you're the best director.
Just making things up about it.
Yeah. Okay, so the first thing we'll talk about is probably, I think, the biggest thing that's happened in the last month, which is the writers' strike that's going on.
Oh my god.
So, like, this, I have some statistics here. And this is just insane to me. 49% of writers make minimum wage.
Yeah. It's really incredible how little writers are paid in Hollywood, and they are a legitimately integral part of, movie and film production.
Yeah. And, like, today's minimum wage would have been fine in 2007 when the last writer's strike happened. Mm-hmm. But things have gone up, prices have gone up, gas has gone up, inflation has increased.
Yeah.
And you need to increase minimum wage along with that. And minimum wage right now is not a livable wage. Yeah. There's a difference between minimum and livable. These are people who can't afford groceries or rent. There was a story I read about. There was a writer for the TV show The Bear who won an Emmy and couldn't afford to go to the Emmys.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have enough money.
Yeah, I've heard about other stories of, writers literally going to awards shows and they're, like, in debt and they had to, like, rent their suit or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really ridiculous. So they're asking for a couple of things. They're asking for, obviously, an increase in pay. They're asking for better health care and better pensions.
Yeah.
So I don't think that that's too much to ask for.
Yeah, especially one of the main things that they're asking for is better residuals.
Oh, yeah.
And a residual is basically, you get paid when you initially write the episode, but then also if they rerun the episode, you get a residual, just a little bit of money because, you wrote it, you deserve money for it. And I saw a thing about a writer who had written some of the best, like the highest rated episodes of TV, like in the world, and the residuals for those episodes were none of them cracked 80 cents.
Yeah.
They were like, 77 cents, 73 cents, and that is ridiculously low.
Yeah. I mean, not only is that really low, but you used to, like, 10 years ago, you used to be able, like, if you were a writer on Law & Order, you used to be, like, that every Tuesday at 9 o'clock they're going to be running one of your episodes.
Yeah.
Because it's cable. They have the network has a set time that they run certain shows. But with the introduction of streaming services, they don't get paid when their episode is watched on a streaming service.
Yeah.
And the companies claim that they don't pay the writers because they don't know how many times the TV show is being watched, which is not true.
That's not true.
Because they like to brag about it.
Yeah.
When it's doing well.
Netflix will, send stuff on Twitter saying like, oh, Stranger Things has now become the most popular show in the world this year.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you know that?
Yeah. So, like, there's a reason why they're asking for an increase in residuals. And it's because nobody really watches cable anymore. So only the most popular shows are being streamed on cable.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got a streaming service. They got Disney Plus or Netflix or whatever. And it's ridiculous. And now even there's the problem of most shows being like 9 episodes. Like there's like 9 to 12 episodes where you used to have like 22 episode seasons.
Yeah,
and that would like take a writer almost an entire year to write a story for an entire season.
Yeah, a team of writers. You
Right,
know?
yeah. And like I mean, if you look at like if you look at shows like The Mandalorian or Stranger Things or like a show like WandaVision, they're anywhere from 6 to 12 episodes. They're not anywhere close to what they used to be.
They're tiny.
Yeah.
They're longer. The episodes tend to be like, 40 minutes or
That's
whatever.
true, yeah.
But yeah, they're still shorter.
Yeah.
In total, I mean.
Yes. So yeah, as I mentioned previously, the last writer's strike happened in 2007, and this is what happens when you get when you have a writer's strike. You don't immediately feel the impact because obviously things are in production and that's what's being affected. But well, this is what happens when you get a writer's strike. You get Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
Oh my gosh.
And I have a quote here from David Gurman from the Associated Press, who called Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen the worst reviewed $400 million hit ever. So that's what happens when you get a writer's strike. And we're probably not going to feel the effects of this writer's strike for like another 6 months to a year.
Yeah, I was going to say 6 months to a year.
So these are a list of things that I know are being affected. Blade, which we found out at CinemaCon, just got a new writer. It was supposed to start filming this month, but doesn't look like it's going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
Basically every late night show ever that has ever existed. Because obviously there are writers who work on that constantly, and there's one every single weekday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cobra Kai, Season 6 on Netflix. Yellow Jacket, Season 3 on, I think that's Paramount Plus. Abbott Elementary. And Rings of Power, Season 2 for Amazon. That's still going to film, but the writers won't be on set for that. And the problem with that is, this is how like a production usually works, right? So there's a director, and he's, telling the actors what to do with the sets and whatnot. But if a line isn't working, or if the scene's not coming out exactly how the director wanted it, they'll have writers on set to like feed them lines.
Yeah. And
like fix dialogue and stuff like that. If the writers aren't on set, that's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of problems.
Right, yeah. And it's going to... It's just not good. And you eventually get Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
I am so looking forward to all of the terrible things that we're going to get, like, next year.
Yeah.
It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, this is some of the things that we'll get. Hopefully it won't be a lot of them, because I think productions are stopping entirely, because it's not just the writers who are going on strike. Like, even though the writers' union is a separate union from, like, the actors and other crew members, there's a shared interest in, in giving the writers better wages.
And solidarity,
Right, yeah.
They're going to write better scripts if they can feed their families by writing scripts.
I've seen a lot of actors and a lot of hosts and other people who are standing with the writers in solidarity. And that's nice. So I think most productions, if they are affected, are going to not, are just going to stop production. Yeah. Because they're not going to have the people to work on it.
I've heard a thing that, like, almost every, like, major film studio is looking into AI-generated scripts. And I just gotta say, they're gonna be terrible, but also don't watch them. Don't give them, like, any of your time at all. It's not worth it. Yeah. Watch something that a person wrote.
I am a firm believer in the fact that AI will never be able to make a show as good as a person.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna get on your computer and type in ChatGPT? I need a plot for the next episode of Friends.
Yeah, and it could come up with it, right? Yeah. There was an AI that was running a thing on YouTube that was like Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And it was like, 3D CGI art of the characters like walking around and stuff. You know, it's just like a Blender animation, and all of the dialogue was just AI generated, and apparently it was occasionally funny, and so people would actually watch it. But the thing is, it's not going to be as funny as a person writing it. It's not going to be as entertaining as a person writing it, and it's just not going to have that same like emotional hit to it.
Right.
Speaking of emotional hits, we're gonna get to Guardians of the Galaxy later.
Yes, we will. So if you wanna cry, go see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Oh my god, it's so good. Anyway, later. Sorry,
later.
Getting off track.
Yeah, the thing is, these studios have enough money to increase the writers' salaries.
Oh, 100%.
It's just they don't want to do it. And this is a quote here I have from Sal Caleros, who's a writer on the K-drama production Snowflake.
Okay.
Or, it's not Snowflake. Snowfall, I think.
Snowfall.
Yeah. He said, "The Shield put FX on the map. Mad Men put AMC on the map. House of Cards put Netflix on the map. Writers did that, not some CEO. You know what you get when you put CEOs in creative lanes? You get Quibi."
Oh my god.
That is absolutely true. Some of you listening probably won't know what Quibi is.
That's so lethal.
That's because it's a streaming show. It was a streaming platform that was advertised, released, and then closed like a month later because it failed.
And the ads were so odd.
Yeah. Quibi was just I would call it the biggest streaming failure ever.
It was the Stadia of streaming services.
Yeah. It's...
You remember Stadia?
I remember something about something called Stadia. I don't remember exactly what
Google
it was.
made a live play like game service sort of thing that was entirely cloud-based. It was really horrible. It was really laggy.
Wow. Yeah. But yeah, so, I mean, no one wants another Quibi.
Yeah.
This is why CEOs do their CEO thing and writers do their writer thing, and that's why you need to have writers to make good, successful shows.
The problem is that the CEO thing, you know, the thing that they're like hired to do is to make as much money as possible for the company.
Right.
And they do that by, you know, not paying their writers.
And I have statistics for what the CEOs make. After I forgot to mention these when I was talking about like the productions that will probably be affected. These are the ones that will probably be affected. Mm-hmm. The Last of Us, Umbrella Academy, Outlander, The Witcher, White Lotus. Those projects will probably be affected more than likely.
Gotcha.
Superman Legacy won't be affected because James Gunn has already written the script and already sent it in. And that was also, I think, one of the... Yeah. So the Superman Legacy script has already been submitted. So that... It looks like that won't be affected. But, however... Okay, I now have some statistics of monies that CEOs make.
Okay.
So Bob Chapek, who was the former head... He was the last Bob to run Disney. Because now it's Bob Iger.
Right.
So Bob Chapek... in his yearly salary while he was at Disney, made $32 million.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Who needs that much money?
Yeah. Bob Bakish, who is the head of Paramount Global, he also made $32 million. I now am starting to believe that there may be a cult of people named Bob who run movie studios. I don't know.
My granddad's named Bob. He's part of the cult. He's in on it.
Cult of Bobs.
Cult of Bob.
This next one, his name is not Bob. His name is David Zaslav, who is the head of Warner Brothers.
Gotcha.
Yeah. He made $39 million. And
God, like...
Yeah. Apparently, this is what he said according to... This comes from Deadline. He said that a love for working will end the impasse. He was talking about the writer's strike. So he's saying that because the writers love working, they're going to stop striking. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's not how it works. You can love your job as much as you want, but like if you're not getting paid, it's going to suck.
Yeah, it really is. I I don't think that this is going to be resolved. I hope it's going to be resolved soon. It's not going to be resolved tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be resolved by the end of the week. Hopefully within the next month it will be. Because I don't want these shows affected. I care about the writers. And honestly, they just need to, like, be able to live.
Yeah.
Because these aren't people who can't afford to, like, take a limo. These are people who can't afford groceries or rent or bills.
These are people who can't afford the gas in their car.
Yeah. Can't afford to go to an awards show where they've won an award for being the best at their craft. And it's really ridiculous. But yeah, so hopefully this writer's strike will end pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Any last comments on the writer's strike?
Shout out to all of the like major actors and, you know, movers and shakers from Hollywood that have, you know, joined the picket lines and been out there.
Yeah.
They're really bringing a lot of eyes to it. And the more people who know about, like, just how awful being a writer for Hollywood is, the higher probability it is that they will actually get paid.
Yeah. So...
And I hope this doesn't end like the rail worker strike, where, you know, Biden just ordered them back to work.
Yep. Hopefully this ends like the last one did, where the writers actually got what they wanted.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, and they're not asking for millions of dollars. They're asking for an increased salary so that they can live.
Yeah.
And that is not too much. I mean, most of these writers write for companies that are worth billions of dollars. And I'm pretty sure all the companies they write for are worth billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Like, some of these movies, like the individual projects that they work on, are billion-dollar projects.
Yeah.
So it's
you know, if the CEOs really want to make the company a lot of money, you know, they could always, you know, reduce their own salary by a couple million.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Maybe pay yourself an unlivable wage.
Apparently, if you took 10% of... Or if you just took David Zaslav's salary, the $39 million, that would pay for 10% of what all of the writers want.
Damn.
And, yeah, it's... I mean, obviously you're not going to, like, cut David Zaslav's entire salary, but, I mean... A CEO's salary is not the only place to pull money from, although it is definitely a good place to pull money from.
Yeah, they don't need it.
Yeah, and it's just ridiculous that it's gotten to this level. But hopefully this will be over soon. So we stand with you, writers.
Yep.
Are we good to move on?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I'm done being passionate.
All right. We'll jump into some Marvel news. CinemaCon happened, which is where we found out some new info on some Marvel things. Kraven, the new Kraven movie, is going to be R-rated.
Oh, fun.
So it's the first R-rated Sony... There's a name for that universe, the Venom Morbius universe. It's called, like, Sony Pictures Universe of Marvel Characters, I think.
That's horrible.
Yeah. You can't even abbreviate that. It's like SPUMCR. I don't know. It's weird. But it'll be the first R-rated movie of that franchise.
Awesome.
So that should be interesting. Aaron Taylor-Johnson is Kraven, and that'll be interesting. Maybe this time he won't die like he did in Age of Ultron. You didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing that came out of CinemaCon is Blade officially got a new writer. That writer for Blade did some work for True Detectives. So
Okay.
He should be good. And obviously, Blade's not going to be filming anymore because of the writer's strike. But, yep. Anyway, now there have been an increased amount of talk amongst fans about Fantastic Four casting.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody has been waiting for Marvel Studios to be like, this is our Fantastic Four. I mean, obviously we saw John Krasinski in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but I'm fairly certain he's not going to be Fantastic Four in the main universe.
But why?
Because I'm pretty sure he did that to appease fans, and also, if he was going to be Reed Richards in the main universe, I feel like Kevin Feige would have just come out and said it, because he's been dancing around the question for a while. And
Okay.
he's been saying he said something like, we're looking for people to play these characters, and in reference to the Fantastic Four.
Gotcha.
And I feel like if it was just John Krasinski, he would have said, yeah, John Krasinski did a great job and he's coming back. Obviously, I would... My personal picks for the Fantastic Four team, I would love John Krasinski as Reed Richards and Emily Blunt as Invisible Woman, Sue Storm. For Human Torch, this is where the Human Torch and the Thing are the two roles that I have people I would like to see in them, but these aren't roles, or these aren't actors that most people would think of.
Yeah.
So for Johnny Storm, Human Torch, I kind of want to see Dave Franco. He's the brother of James Franco, who played Harry Osborn in the first Spider-Man movies. Dave Franco's kind of like the younger version. He was in Now You See Me.
Okay.
That movie about the magicians.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Dave Franco would do a really good job playing Johnny Storm. He's got the charm and the wittiness to him that I would expect from a Human Torch. And then for the Thing, I said that I would like to see Jason Statham in the role. He's the dude from the Meg, which we'll talk about later. And I know him from the Expendables, and he's also Deckard Shaw in the Fast and Furious movies.
He has a wide range of action movies and more action movies.
I would personally like to see him as the Thing. I know a lot of people don't agree with me. But also, there have been talks of Adam Driver as Mr. Fantastic. So
Okay, I
Adam
could see
Driver as
that.
Reed Richards. Margot Robbie as Sue Storm, Invisible Woman. And Daveed Diggs, who was in Hamilton.
Okay. I haven't seen Hamilton.
Yeah, he played Lafayette, I think. He has been rumored to be voicing the Thing. Also, here's a weird one. Mila Kunis has been rumored to be the voice of the Thing, who they might make a female version of from the comics. Because there's a female version of the Thing from the comics who's not Ben Grimm. I don't think that she's related to Ben Grimm. But she becomes the Thing in the comics, and people were saying that it might be Mila Kunis.
I'd be down.
Yeah.
Always interested in a monstrous lady.
Yeah. But yeah, so those are the rumors that have been floating around for the Fantastic Four. Have you any thoughts on who you would like to see inside the roles?
I want Mads Mikkelsen just in any sort of superhero stuff. I love Mads.
Yeah.
Amazing actor.
Yep.
In everything that he's in. Just knocks it out of the park every time.
Yep. He even did great in Fantastic Beasts. He was one of my favorite parts about Doctor Strange. He's great as a villain.
Oh, right. He's in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he plays Caecilius.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so maybe not Mads Mikkelsen.
I mean, they've reused actors before.
Yeah, I guess. I just...
Yeah. Anybody else?
No, not really.
All right.
I haven't thought that much about it.
Hopefully we'll get casting for this soon so that we can talk about who's actually going to be playing these characters. Yeah, so we'll jump to some DC news next. And the only thing I had here was the thing I mentioned before about Superman Legacy. James Gunn submitted his script for Superman Legacy, so that should be interesting because he's also directing that movie.
All right.
I think he'll do a good job. I haven't seen a movie of James Gunn where he's directed something like a Superman movie, because he's done Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy. And
Yeah.
those are like...
They're both ensemble casts.
Wacky characters who he can throw into an ensemble cast. So I'm interested to see what he does with Superman Legacy. Yeah, and then the next thing I have is also one bit of Star Wars news. John Boyega has buried the hatchet, quote, buried the hatchet with Kathleen Kennedy, because he was mad at her for some things that happened with Star Wars and his character.
Right.
And other things. So he will now be in the new Rey-centric movie of the new Jedi Order. So that's Rey 9 years after The Rise of Skywalker. And she's building the new Jedi Order, and I guess Finn's going to be in the movie too. So
I hope so.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Man, I'm still like upset. In the first of the sequel trilogy, like Finn was set up to be this really interesting like exploration of stormtroopers, and then they just didn't follow through on that, and I'm so sad.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. He did not have the most interesting character, although I liked his performance.
Oh yeah,
and I thought he did a good job.
No, he was great.
Yeah. Yeah, the next thing I got here is we got some miscellaneous news things. Galaxy Quest is getting a new series on Paramount Plus.
What's that?
Galaxy Quest.
Oh, Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
I heard Galaxy Quest.
No, Galaxy
I was
Quest.
like, is this a pirate movie? What?
No,
Gotcha. Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
Okay.
New series on Paramount Plus. So that is about all the information that we have on that project. Just that it's going to Paramount Plus. The next thing I have here is the new Transformers animated movie called Transformers 1.
Ooh.
We have a cast list for that. This is animated, so Scarlett Johansson will be voicing Alita. Chris Hemsworth will be voicing Optimus Prime. John Hamm as Sentinel Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Tyree Henry as Megatron. Keegan-Michael Key as Bumblebee. And Lawrence Fishburne as Alphatron.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's a pretty good cast. I mean, I love all these actors and actresses, so it sounds like a pretty good cast to me. And the Transformers animated stuff has always been mostly better than the live action stuff.
It's just that they started out as a cartoon to sell toys, and so I think they just work. Excuse me. I think they just work better as a cartoon.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool to see the live action Transformers, but it's been a while since I've seen any of the Transformers movies, and most of them are not that great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that should be interesting. The next thing I have here is Karl Urban is in talks to play Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat 2 because for some reason Mortal Kombat's getting a sequel.
Why?
I don't know. I rated it as my
gosh.
worst film in 2020 because I'm pretty sure that's when it came out. And I remember watching that movie and I was just constantly thinking, what is going on? Why is this...
Yeah.
How did someone think that this was a good movie? But apparently he's in talks to play Johnny Cage. Karl Urban was, of course, in The Boys. He played Butcher. And
Right, yeah.
he was also Scourge in Thor Ragnarok.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Mortal Kombat 2 will be good if they put Karl Urban in it, but the last one wasn't. That one had an Australian actor that I really like, whose name is escaping my brain.
Hugh Jackman?
No, he was the guy with the sombrero. He was like the razor hat. I don't remember.
Raiden.
Maybe.
That's the character's name.
I haven't seen Mortal Kombat in a while, and there's a reason I don't want to watch it. I would never go out of my way to watch it.
Yeah, me neither. Screw that.
Yeah. But, yeah, so Karl Urban, maybe Johnny Cage. Sylvester Stallone returns as Gabe Walker in a Cliffhanger Requel. And it might be
What's a requel?
It's like a reboot sequel, so a soft reboot that sort of exists in the same universe, but sort of doesn't.
That's weird.
Yeah, so Sylvester Stallone made a movie called Cliffhanger a while back, and I guess he's making a new one. So that I haven't ever seen Cliffhanger, so I have no idea what it's about, but apparently he's returning.
All right.
Yeah. Now we can talk about some trailers that are very, very interesting.
Let's go.
Yes. The first trailer that we have here is Fast X, releasing on May 19th.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. when I was watching the trailer and they opened the back of the truck, my first thought was, why is there a Death Star in the back of the truck?
Why is there a Death Star in the back
It
of the
looks
truck?
like a Death Star. It's this big ball with a circle.
And it's like a bomb?
I guess.
And yeah, I don't know.
It's very, very strange.
The plot is really hard to follow from the trailer.
These used to just be movies about racing.
They really did.
They've turned into supercars that aren't supercars.
That have, like, rockets.
Yeah. And it's... I don't know. John Cena's back. Vin Diesel's back. Helen Mirren is back. Brie Larson.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Rodriguez. Jason Statham. But not The Rock. And... So you have Shaw but not Hobbs, and then Han is back. Other people, Jason Momoa is in here, and apparently he's related to someone from the fifth movie. The fifth movie is actually really good. The fourth one isn't.
Okay.
But the fifth one is a good Fast and Furious movie. But yeah, I guess more Dom's family.
Dom's family.
Dom's family.
Just stop calling it Fast and Furious. Call it, The Adventures of Dom's Family.
The Toretto Adventures.
The Toretto Family Adventures. Yeah.
Honestly, that sounds like something they would do. They make a series called...
It's a TV show.
That's funny.
I need this now.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever actually seen a Fast and Furious movie.
Really?
Yeah.
There was a point where I watched from, I think, 1 to 6, and then I saw Hobbs and Shaw. And I haven't seen 7, 8, or 9.
Gotcha.
But I guess this franchise is big enough that it now has 10 movies. So...
and a side spin-off
And a side spin-off thing with Idris Elba, who declared himself Black Superman. So... yeah.
What?
Yeah. He like stands on top of a truck and he looks at Hobbs and Shaw and he goes, "I'm Black Superman."
Incredible.
Yeah, because he's a super soldier, I guess. I don't know. It's really weird. This franchise is big and hopefully this is good and not bad, but it will more likely than not be bad. Although 5 was pretty good.
Even if they're bad, even if it's bad, it's gonna sell.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna make a new one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'll see you in a couple of years for Fast and Furious 11.
Yeah, this won't be the last one because they have confirmed a Fast and Furious 11.
Oh my god.
And that
curse.
I think we talked about that a while ago where they wanted to bring in Robert Downey Jr. as like an Elon Musk style character with AI.
Gross. No.
Yeah. They want Tony Stark in the Fast and Furious.
They want Tony Stark in the Fast and Furious movies.
But yeah, so that will be interesting to see when it comes out. Again, this is coming out May 19th. So that actually is in, what, a week? That's exactly a week, isn't it? No,
Yeah, I think so.
No, it was a week from yesterday.
6 days.
6 days. 6 days it'll come out.
Woo!
Yeah. All right, the next thing we had was not a trailer, but a teaser for a teaser trailer. A teaser trailer.
Is this the Godzilla one?
Yep.
Oh my
Godzilla, Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. I guess there's an evil orangutan.
And there's an eviler orangutan.
Eviler orangutan, because
There were like a bunch of skulls.
there were a bunch of skulls and
then
bones, and
there
then
was-
there was Godzilla and Kong's skull.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know enough about the kaijus to know who that orangutan is.
Yeah, me neither.
I know of Godzilla and I know of Kong. I did a MonsterVerse watch where I saw Godzilla and then I saw Kong Skull Island and then I saw Godzilla King of the Monsters and then I saw Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla and Kong Skull Island were good. Kong Skull Island was really good. I really actually did really enjoy that movie. King of the Monsters was just okay. And Godzilla vs. Kong was an interesting movie.
Interesting how.
interesting. Like it's a movie that if I need something to not think about, I want to. If you just want to watch two monsters duke it out, that's the movie you watch. You pick up your popcorn and you watch two monsters fight, and that's entertaining. But if you want to think about something intelligent, that's not the movie for you to watch.
All right.
Because I guess, Mechagodzilla is also in that movie. Godzilla versus Kong. Because Godzilla and Kong fight each other, and then they fight Mechagodzilla. And, yeah.
Like, why, though? What's the reason?
Because Mechagodzilla is tearing up some part in Asia. I forgot where. But, yeah, so I don't know who this orangutan is, but who knows? Maybe this new movie will be good. I'd say this franchise is pretty decent so far, except for King of the Monsters, which I didn't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
The next one we have is The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, releasing November 11th.
I would like to point out the name is horrible.
It's too long.
It's bad. Okay? Shorten it and then flip Songbirds and Snakes. So instead of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Ballad of Snakes and Songbirds.
Yeah.
It just rolls off the tongue better. I can't believe that nobody at the studio thought, wow, this name sucks. Let's make a better one.
There's also, I think, a missed opportunity to create a title with... Because, the main character in this, her last name is, Baird or something, right?
Yeah.
You could call it, Ballad of Bayard or something. And... I don't know. Her last name just sounds a lot like Bird's.
It does. I think that's on purpose. I think, yeah.
Jon Snow is a teenager and maybe evil. I'd be surprised if he was good. Because he's not good in the regular Hunger Games movies.
Yeah, he's her, sponsor, mentor guy.
Yeah, he's her mentor, Haymitch.
Yeah, but
was.
Is he evil or is he not evil? The plot is so hard to understand from the trailer. I genuinely can't figure out what's going on.
I'd have to actually. I think there might be a plot synopsis on this. I should look it up to see if Jon Snow is actually a good guy or a bad guy.
All right.
Plot synopsis for The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds. Wait, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. There we go. What is the plot of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes in a nutshell? The film will follow a young Cornelius Snow, the future president of Panem, as he mentors a tribute of the 10th Hunger Games, a tournament which paves the way for his tyrannical reign. It doesn't say anything about whether or not he's good or bad.
Amazing. Yeah. You love to see it.
Yeah, but this looks like an older. We're gonna see an older Panem. So I thought I saw a sign that said District 17, but I don't think that there are 17 districts. There
were only ever 13.
Yeah. So I don't know. I might have misread the sign. I might have misread it. It might have been a 2, and the bottom line of the 2 might have been covered up by something, so it looked like a 7. But we're probably going to see an active District 13 in this, because District 13 was destroyed in the main books. Right?
Yeah, but then it was a secret base for the rebels.
Yeah, so we're probably going to see District 13 before it was wiped out. And we might even see the destruction of District 13, although I don't remember when it was destructed.
Yeah.
Yeah. This will probably be bad. I like the original Hunger Games series, the movies, but this will probably be bad. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that I saw the Hunger Games getting really popular for a couple weeks on TikTok a while ago, and now they're releasing this, and I feel like someone's viral marketing campaign worked really, really well.
Yeah, probably. The next trailer we're talking about is Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. This actually looks kind of good, and I'm a really big fan of long, one-shot takes of big fights.
Yeah.
Um,
I want to talk about that shot, though.
yeah.
It's really good, like, quote-unquote camera work. It's animated really well. But the sound design was weirding me out because it only felt like there were, like, a third of the sounds that there should have been.
Yeah.
It felt really quiet. And I was sitting there like, why am I not hearing a battle? Why am I just hearing, like, the occasional whoosh noise?
Yeah, that's a very fair question.
I hope they polish that up for the official release.
Yeah.
Because, I want it to be good. I want every movie to be good.
Yeah.
But not every movie is.
Yeah. This looks good, and it's not directed by Michael Bay. And as far as my understanding goes, this is not in the same universe either. So, I hope this will be good because I like the way the Transformers transform. I always love those shots, and they put a couple in here, and those are amazing. I love seeing them, like, transform from their vehicle or animal form into their person form. Mm-hmm. And I also just think I forgot his name, the guy who's playing the main human.
I don't know.
But, like, Optimus Prime picks him up at one point, and he goes, "You brought a human in here?" And he goes, I ain't seen nothing, bro. I still not seeing anything.
I have to say this, the CG on him being picked up was really, really good.
Yeah, it was.
It didn't seem janky at all, so I think we're going to be able to, reliably predict that the CG in this is going to be good.
Yes. Oh, I also think that the eagle is Michelle Yeoh. It sounded like her voice, although I'm not certain about whether or not it is. But yeah, so I hope this is good. I'm probably going to go see it when it comes out. Although I might have to do a Transformers rewatch because I know that there was one Transformers movie that I did like. I just don't remember which one it was.
It's not Revenge of the Fallen, that's for sure. It's not
Revenge of the Fallen. I think that was actually the first Transformers movie I ever saw was Revenge of the Fallen.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was weird.
My stepbrother, I don't talk to him anymore. His dad and my mom broke up, but he used to go on and on about how Revenge of the Fallen was the best movie ever, and I was just like, what do you mean, bro?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not awfully bad, it's just not good.
Yeah.
And as far as Transformers movies go, it's not that good either. Like, even comparatively to the rest of them. It's not the worst Transformers movie, but it's just not good.
At least this new one won't have Shia LaBeouf in it.
Yeah. I remember Shia LaBeouf from those movies. I forgot he was in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mark Wahlberg was in those too.
Also, hopefully it doesn't have any, like, discussions of, like, Romeo and Juliet laws. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why did they include that?
I have no idea.
Like, okay.
I guess Bumblebee can also speak in this one. That was something I noticed at the end.
Well, the voice sounded very human and not like...
That's true.
Not like garbly and stuff like all the other robot voices.
That's true.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's... I don't know. The trailer frames it as if it's Bumblebee, but you're right. It didn't sound that mechanical. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Yeah. Next trailer we're going to talk about The Equalizer 3. Had a trailer. Releasing September 1st. So, I haven't seen the first two Equalizer movies.
Me neither.
I do like Denzel Washington, though. Yes. This looks good. There are a lot of creative deaths in this. Like, I mean, he stabs a revolver into a guy's eye.
Yeah, and then, like, shoots through his head.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty metal.
Yeah. I like that. So I always like, obviously you have to, in these movies, find ways to spice things up, and I think finding creative ways to kill people is a very good way to spice things up.
Yeah, you can only see a guy get shot in the head so many times in a movie. Yeah.
And I don't know about... The only reason that this movie concerns me is there's, like, this entire genre of spy movies where an old spy is retired and he comes back for some reason. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Most
Even,
of
like, John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick. We're supposed to be getting an Expendables 4 this year.
Okay, fun.
Yeah, it's weird. But hopefully the Equalizer 3 will be good. I'll probably watch the first two at some point. The next trailer that we watched was The Witcher Season 3 trailer. Henry Cavill's last season as The Witcher. Before he moves over to Warhammer, right?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Henry Cavill is being replaced by one of the Hemsworth brothers, who I don't remember if it's Liam or the other one. I always forget the other one's name. I know Liam Hemsworth, but I don't know.
Aren't there three of them?
Yeah, it's Chris, Liam, and then there's someone else, and I don't remember the third one's name.
Jacob.
Kevin.
I'm just coming up with names.
Bill, yeah.
Bill
Hemsworth.
William Hemsworth.
William Hemsworth.
Okay, anyway, back to Witcher.
Back to The Witcher. This looks good, and from my understanding, The Witcher, the first two seasons have been pretty good as well. So.
Yeah, I saw season 1. I absolutely loved it. And then I started watching season 2 with my dad, and it just really wasn't clicking for me. And so I let him finish it on his own, and I went and did other things.
Yeah, I have never seen The Witcher, but from my understanding, the first season is good, and apparently, I guess the second season is
Wait,
not
really?
as good.
I've seen something that you haven't?
Yeah.
I think that might be a first.
No, because you've seen John Wick, and I haven't seen the John Wick movies.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah, so I guess we can add this to the list of things that I haven't seen that you have.
Yeah. And I gotta start keeping a tally.
These will be coming. The first volume 1's going to be on June 29th, and volume 2 is going to be on July 27th. Originally, when I saw it, I thought it was June 29th and then June 27th, and I was like, wait, are they releasing a year apart? And then
I told him to back up, and it's June and July.
Yeah, and I just realized I was blind and couldn't read.
It happens to the best of us. Finals are coming up. Everything's hell.
Yeah. The next one I haven't seen either, Black Mirror Season 6. We watched that trailer.
Yeah.
From my understanding, Black Mirror is one of these shows that you have to, watch to know what's going on. And you can't figure out the plot of just from the trailers.
It doesn't have a plot.
Okay, so it is what I thought it was.
It's an anthology.
Okay.
Every episode is a self-contained story.
Okay, that's...
Yeah, that's why there's, wildly different time periods and stuff.
That's what I thought, but I couldn't, I didn't want to be wrong and then sound like an idiot.
No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, these... Because I'm a really big fan of The Twilight Zone. Mm-hmm. The Twilight Zone is one of my favorite shows. I love Rod Serling and all of his episodes. And that one, every episode is also a self-contained episode. Yeah. So what I thought Black Mirror was just a newer version of The Twilight Zone. Obviously, it's not the same franchise, but
You're kind of right.
Yeah, it's... And
every episode of Black Mirror is kind of the same. It's okay, here are some characters, and then here's some technology, and oh, look, the technology is evil, or oh, look, the technology is making them discover something about themselves. And that's basically it. That's every episode. It's either technology is horrible or, technology can help us become more human,
Haley Atwell's in one of these episodes. I know that, and in the trailer, Salma Hayek was in one of the episodes. Mm. She plays Ajak, and Haley Atwell played Agent Carter. But yeah, I don't know. I'll probably watch Black Mirror at some point, because I've heard a lot of good things about Black Mirror from different people, so.
I recommend having someone who's seen all of it tell you which episodes to watch.
Oh, does the quality vary from episode to episode?
In my experience, yeah. Some of them are, absolutely stellar, and then some of them are, I don't want to say garbage, but compost.
Compost? Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, this season 6 will be releasing in June on Netflix.
A lot of releases in June.
June's
it's the start of the summer. People are gonna have
summer
time.
Blockbusters. Yeah. The next trailer we'll talk about, June. I almost called the next trailer June 16th. but the trailer isn't called June 16th. That's the release date for The Flash.
Woo!
Despite Ezra Miller and his real-world problems, this looks like a good movie.
It really does. And it makes me, like, so flabbergasted because, like,
Yeah.
I remember a couple years ago just, like, hearing about all the stuff that Ezra Miller was doing, and it just kept getting worse. And I was like, how has nobody arrested them yet? And here they are,
Yep.
making a movie.
Yep. So from my understanding, the plot is Barry Allen and Michael Keaton and Clark Kent fight Michael Shannon.
Yeah.
Zod. Michael Shannon is a good actor. I think he'll be good as Zod.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Apparently there's a sequence in The Flash where there are just cameos of different people. And even though I think James Gunn was the one who said that Grant Gustin wasn't in this movie. Someone said Grant Gustin wasn't in it, but I wouldn't be surprised if in that cameo sequence he was.
Who's Grant Gustin?
He plays the TV show Flash.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting. Also, it'll be interesting to see if George Clooney this is his version of Batman. Because we got the Keaton Batman.
We have two Batmans.
Yep, Keaton Batman and Affleck Batman are both in here.
Why do we have two Batmans?
Good question, because there are like 37 different Batmans.
Yeah,
Live
but
action Batmans.
like why?
Good question. Also, this was something I thought about the other day, but we have now had 3 Raccoon Tree movies from Marvel, and we've...
Raccoon Tree?
Guardians movies. I
Oh.
was calling it Raccoon Tree to like emphasize the point of Marvel has given us 3 movies about a talking tree and a talking raccoon teaming up,
Yeah.
and we've still had like 8 different live action Batmans. And that's kind of funny to me. It's not 8. We had Robert Pattinson, Ben Affleck, Christian Bale. Or wait, Christian Bale might have been before the first Guardians movie came out. I don't know. It's been almost a decade since Guardians of the Galaxy 1 came out.
Damn.
Yeah, because that one came out in 2014.
God, I'm old.
Yeah.
I'm turning 20 over the summer. This is messed up.
Oh, I don't even want to think about
God.
that. Yeah, I turn 20 at the beginning of next year. Jeez.
Back in my day.
It's so wacky. We measure our time in Batmans.
Measure our time in Batman's. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, back to The Flash. It looks interesting. Can't wait to see it. I don't know what it is about that line about Michael Keaton getting nuts, but I just liked it's very funny.
His delivery is so, like, why?
It was just really funny.
Want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Yeah. Cannot wait to see The Flash.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
Ezra Miller and all.
Ezra Miller and all, yes. Next trailer came from CinemaCon, Dune Part 2, releasing on November 3rd.
Right.
Here's the thing about, like, Dune. It was marketed in a very weird way. Like, Zendaya was in all the trailers and was only in the movie for, like, 5 minutes at the end.
Yeah. It's because people really like Zendaya, and for good reason.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, literally in it for like 5 minutes total.
Yeah, but let's see. Timothy Chalamet's back, Zendaya's back, Rebecca Ferguson back, Josh Brolin back, Dave Bautista back, maybe Oscar Isaac. There was a painting of him.
Yeah.
Is back.
He'll be in like a memory sequence or dream sequence or something.
Yeah, probably.
Flashback, Oscar Isaac.
I wasn't the biggest fan of Dune Part 1, and by that I mean I liked it, but I didn't think it was like the greatest thing ever made. I also, like, I realized they're on a desert planet, but like every shot was orange or gray, and
Yeah.
I thought it needed a pop of color, although I'm not sure how
The
they would
movie's
do
name
it.
is Dune.
That's true. The movie's name is
Like,
Dune. Denis Villeneuve, who directed Dune, I think did a pretty good job with the first one. So
they definitely could have made like the still suits and stuff colorful because they're just like
white.
no,
Yeah,
they're black.
They're like white grayish.
They're like blackish gray. They're really dark.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do I remember them being white?
I think you're remembering the Sardaukar.
Maybe. That's probably what it is.
Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Hold on.
We have to check this out, listeners.
Yeah, I'm on it.
To see what what the uniforms actually look like, because I was pretty sure I remembered it being white. Because I thought I remembered Timothée Chalamet poking his head out of a white uniform. Are they gray?
Yeah, they're like kind of glossy, dark gray.
Okay. Those are the ones I remember, but for some reason I remember it being a lot brighter.
Maybe it's because they're like not in direct sunlight? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so Dune Part 2 coming out.
Looking forward to it, honestly.
Yeah. It was... Dune was also not marketed as Dune Part 1, which I thought was weird. Because it ended in a way to, like, there's clearly a Part 2 to this. And it didn't wrap up any sort of storyline. So I found it weird that they marketed it as just Dune and not Dune Part 1. But, you know.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'll probably go see it when it comes out.
I hope streaming services have, like, just, like, a combined version where you can just watch the entire thing without, like, switching to a different movie.
Well, I would say that would probably be possible if it were any other streaming service other than what it's going to be on, which is HBO Max.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's owned by WB.
Right. It's just going to be Max soon,
it's
right?
just Max now.
Oh, my God.
So I would say it would be possible if it weren't for it being on
But why, though?
HBO Max. Yeah, it's... yeah. The next trailer we got, Gran Turismo. Gran
Turismo.
Gran Turismo. I didn't know that this was... Probably. I didn't know that this was based on a true story. But
yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah. David Harbour plays the mentor, and it looks like an interesting concept. Like, how would driving, like, being the best video game driver ever translate to an actual car?
Yeah.
And, like, he mentions how, like, the G-forces are, like, 4 times that of an astronaut, and the cockpit's, like, 140 degrees.
I think it was twice that of an astronaut.
Yeah, twice. Twice or 4 times. But, yeah. And, like, I always knew that racing was a very, very intense sport, and, like, the people in the cars weren't just, like, driving. They were actually, like, they actually had to be in, like, really good shape. And,
yeah. And you have to literally do, like, breathing exercises like you're flying a fighter jet.
Yeah.
Because then, you go blind, and then you can't see.
So this looks like a good movie. From my experience, racing movies have been pretty good, and not like Fast and Furious 4 onward. Like early Fast and Furious, I remember watching Ford v Ferrari, which was really good. That one had Matt Damon, and Matt Damon's also in this one. No, he's not in this one. He's in Oppenheimer.
He's in Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
And he was in Air.
Yeah, he was in Air.
He's getting around.
Yeah, he is getting around. Ford v Ferrari was good. I liked that one. That was the last one I remember seeing. So hopefully this is good.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like an interesting concept, so I'll probably go see it and watch it. Next trailer, Meg 2, The Trench. I have a lot of comments on this. Releasing it August 4th.
Why do we need more movies about the Megalodon?
The first one I had a lot of problems with because the plot just doesn't make sense. And I don't mean like Megalodons can't exist. I mean like the movie opens with this submarine getting attacked from what is implied to be the Megalodon.
Yeah.
And then you find out later that the Megalodon cannot go above the Marianas Trench.
Yeah.
And the submarine was above the Marianas Trench. So I don't understand how could it be attacked by a Megalodon if the Megalodons were still under the trench? It just didn't make sense to me.
There's so much that in the trailer that I'm just like, really? Really? Why? Why though?
So I guess it's not just one Megalodon this time.
Yeah.
It's
also
3.
Also, I just want to point out, this is shark slander.
Yeah.
Sharks are kind-hearted little guys, you know? And they're being demonized by these films.
I agree with that.
Let's make a movie about how awful dolphins are.
I'm just imagining like an evil dolphin attack.
Dolphins are evil!
Dr. Blowhole from Penguins of Madagascar.
What?
Have you ever seen the show Penguins of Madagascar?
No, I only saw the movie.
Okay, Penguins of Madagascar. The villain of the Penguins of Madagascar, his name is Dr. Blowhole. He's an evil bottlenose dolphin with a monocle.
Good. Demonize dolphins for once, not sharks. Sharks are just little guys. Oh my god.
I
Even
agree.
if the Megalodon was still alive today, right, it would not be aggressive to humans. It would be chill.
Yeah. I am a sucker for a good shark movie because I understand that sharks are very nice creatures.
Yeah.
Although I am a sucker for a good shark movie. And there was I took a trip to Disney World last summer. And, I mean, obviously, 90% of your visit to Disney World is waiting in line. So Disney had Wi-Fi and I had my backup charger. So I'd just lean against the wall and I was watching, there was a period where I was, waiting in Galaxy's Edge and I was watching a whole bunch of shark movies. These awful shark movies on Peacock.
Why?
I don't know. I couldn't stop watching shark movies and there was this movie called Attack of the Two-Headed Shark.
Attack of the...
And
oh my god.
There's I replayed the scene because I wanted to make sure I was seeing it right. Whoever made the movie accidentally left in the animation box for the shark. And you can see the box.
What?
Yeah, the shark is clearly CGI and you can see the box around the shark.
Hang on. I'm looking this up. Attack of the Two-Headed Shark.
Yeah.
This is real?
Yep.
This is a real thing.
Yeah. There's I'm not sure if the screen grab will be in the images section.
Yeah.
But there is a point where you can see the animation box still around the shark. And I paused it just to make sure I was seeing it right. I was like, that's the animation box.
Yeah, I can't find it, but
Yeah, it was just really funny to me.
Oh my word.
But yeah, I'm a sucker for a shark movie. It was not a good movie, Attack of the Two-Headed Sharks. And the Meg, I thought the first one was fine. And this one might also be fine, but I don't know, maybe. There's a giant octopus, so my hopes are very high. If there's something I like, it's seeing, ocean creatures doing things. I love a giant octopus. That makes me happy, and my other thought about this movie was I wonder if they're going to do it how they did it last time, because how they killed the Meg in the first movie, how they killed the second Meg in the first movie, they cut him open from the bottom and all the other sharks ate him.
What? Why?
Because he was bleeding.
Okay.
It was from his tail to his head, they cut him open from the bottom. And all those sharks the normal sharks. Normal size sharks.
Cool.
But I guess now there are 5 megalodons because there were 2 in the first movie and now there are 3 more.
Yeah.
How many megalodons can fit in that trench?
Well,
I mean, it's a huge trench.
Yeah, the Mariana Trench is
It's the
enormous.
biggest trench in the world, yeah. It is...
You can fit Mount Everest in it.
Yeah.
And it would still take you hours going down to reach it.
Yep. Yeah, it is the lowest point in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess you could fit a lot of megalodons in there. But how many megalodons are in the Marianas Trench? How many more times are they going to be ooh, another megalodon is escaping the Marianas Trench? Is that going to be the plot of every megalodon movie?
It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
How are they escaping a trench? They just swim out.
Well, how they did it in the first movie was that there was a layer of temperature, a cloud.
Like a brine pool?
Sort of. I forgot the what they called it in the first movie, but basically there was this layer at one point in the Marianas Trench where biological stuff couldn't go through it.
Okay.
So that's why they were not swimming out. But the reason that they got out was because the humans went down in a rover went below the Klein, and then one of the rovers exploded and created a heat seal that temporarily blew a hole through the Klein, and then the shark swam out, and then the hole closed.
Gotcha. Okay.
But there were 2 rovers that blew up, but they only noticed the second shark, which is why that they're surprised that there's a second megalodon.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I hope it's good. I'm gonna go see it because I saw the first one and I'm a sucker for a shark movie. So, giant octopus. I hope it's
Giant
good.
octopus.
Yeah. Last trailer we'll talk about. Oppenheimer, July 7th.
Oppenheimer.
We got our first look at Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks pretty good. I love Christopher Nolan as a director. I especially love that he's using a lot of practical effects.
That's his specialty.
Yeah, that's his specialty.
He crashed a plane for one of his movies.
He did. I love practical special effects.
Oh, absolutely.
They are amazing.
They're always better.
Yeah, I cannot wait to go see this. I love movies about history, and especially since this has to do with our home state, because because the Hanford site was here in Washington.
I really hope that they at least mention Hanford.
Yeah.
Because, it was literally the place that produced, something like 98% of all plutonium ever produced in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's still an ongoing, cleanup effort because there were big radiation leaks.
Yep.
Woo!
Radiation leaks, Albert Einstein, Matt Damon. Should be a good movie. Practical effects.
Yeah.
Should be a good movie. Can't wait to see Oppenheimer. Yeah, so the last thing we'll talk about before we get into Guardians of the Galaxy was Evil Dead Rise came out. Which was apparently pretty good for an Evil Dead movie. I heard it was the best Evil Dead movie from a couple of people that I read reviews about. This had a budget of $17 million. And it had a domestic opening weekend of $24.5 million, and it is currently sitting at a total of $116.9 million.
Wow.
Yeah, so it did pretty well for an Evil Dead movie, and it's looking pretty good. And I heard it was pretty good.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Now we'll jump into the main topic.
The main topic.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Oh my God.
As always, we will be doing non-spoilers right now. And if you want to look in the time code for the spoilers, it'll be listed down there. I will just let you know when the spoilers is coming up, and we'll cut ourselves off and let you move away if you don't want to hear spoilers. First off, budget for this movie, $200 million.
Okay.
Opening box office weekend, domestic opening box office weekend, $24.5 million. And is currently sitting... Wait. No, that's the Evil Dead one. Oops.
Oh.
I was like, that seems low. Yeah, opening box office weekend, $118.4 million.
Okay.
And then it is currently sitting at a $365.6 million total. I wouldn't be surprised if this broke $1 billion at some point.
At some point in the future, maybe.
Yeah.
It's really good, though.
It is really good. I really enjoyed this movie. I have no doubt that it'll probably break $1 billion. Most Marvel movies nowadays do. Quantumania, I think, was the first one that didn't since the COVID era. Or no, wait, no, sorry. This is what because Quantumania was the first one since the COVID era to not break $500 million.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if this broke $1 billion. This is a really good movie. People seem to really be liking it as well. Yeah. Let's see. So, main cast for this movie. Just to make sure that I'm not forgetting anybody. Let's see. Main cast for this movie is Chris Pratt as Peter Quill Star-Lord, Zoe Saldana as Gamora, Dave Bautista as Drax the Destroyer, Karen Gillan as Nebula, Palm Clemenceff as Mantis, Vin Diesel as Groot, Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon, Sean Gunn as Kraglin Obanfree, Chukwudi Iwuji as the High Evolutionary, Will Porter as Adam Warlock, Elizabeth Debicki as Aisha, Maria Bakalova as Cosmo, and Sylvester Stallone as Dakar O'Gord. Yeah. I think everybody in this movie did an amazing job.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was especially very fond of all the animal characters. Rocket, Bradley Cooper does such an amazing job as Rocket.
He is so amazing.
Yeah, especially since he has the disadvantage of not being able to show any facial expressions. He does a really good job with Rocket's voice.
Yeah.
And it was so emotional.
Don't they have him like on set just like crouching on the ground as like a reference point for animals?
Bradley Cooper? No, Sean Gunn, the guy who plays Kraven, does the on-set Rocket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it was very interesting because Bradley Cooper went to the premiere of this movie, and he usually doesn't go to premieres. Like, he didn't go to the first Guardians, and he didn't go to the second one.
All right.
Yeah. But, oh my gosh, Rocket. Such a tragic story.
Yeah.
It really tugged at my emotions.
Without getting into spoilers, I just want to say, you can probably guess as much from the trailer, but it is really emotional.
Right.
And I had tears in my eyes at multiple points throughout the movie.
So did I.
And it got one sob out of me.
Yeah.
Just one, but it's the first movie to actually accomplish that.
Yes. And probably do not go to see this movie if you are not a fan of animal cruelty. Well, I mean, everybody's not a fan of animal cruelty, but like if you really don't like seeing animal cruelty,
do not see this movie. Absolutely do not see this movie.
You could probably tell from the trailer, but just in case that you didn't, this movie involves a lot of animal cruelty.
Some horrible things happen to some very cute little fluffy animals.
Yes. I really enjoyed seeing Rocket's backstory.
Yeah, same.
The High Evolutionary.
Hate him.
Yeah. I loved him as a villain. I'm assuming that you hate him as a character.
Yeah.
Yes.
As a villain, I think he's great.
Yeah.
He is so, sinister, and the way that he has, influence over, multiple societies and, multiple races and, his big company and everything. He's a great villain for plucky heroes to be fighting against.
Oh, yeah. I thought this was great. This was filmed right alongside the holiday special. Which is...
Makes sense.
Yeah, which is why you have so many of these, minor characters who are in both. Because it was filmed right alongside of each other.
Yeah. As long as you have the extras on set.
Right, yeah. I loved the relationship, as always, between Drax and Mantis. They're, best friends, and it's really emotional, and I love it.
They're so goofy.
I think that Peter Quill is better than how he was written in Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah.
Because James Gunn had more problems, or had really big problems with how the Guardians were treated in Infinity War and Endgame. And he was thanking Taika Waititi for quote taking the bullet, because he wasn't gonna put Thor in Guardians 3. And he didn't know that that's how they were ending Endgame, with Thor joining the Guardians.
Right.
So he thanked Taika Waititi for putting the Guardians in Thor so that he didn't have to put Thor in the Guardians.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that was interesting. There's more about... I absolutely loved Cosmo and Kraven.
Yeah.
They're great buddies.
I wish they were in it more.
I wish they were in it more, too. They didn't get as much screen time as I would have liked.
Yeah.
Specifically those two. They were really good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else with non-spoilers that were... Nathan Fillion's in this movie. He's in the trailers, so...
Yeah.
Nathan Fillion's in this movie. Love to see him back. He was actually in the first two Guardians movies. The first one he played the monstrous inmate, the big blue guy who intimidates Rocket.
Check out the new meat.
Yes, that's actually a really great impression.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then in the second one, he played Simon Williams, Wonder Man's real name, but he's not playing Wonder Man in Wonder Man.
Huh.
Yeah. So I guess canonically, there's Wonder Man, whose real name is Simon Williams, and then there's another person named Simon Williams who's just an actor.
Okay.
Yeah. But he was going to play Simon Williams, so Nathan Fillion is...
I love Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, he's a really funny guy.
Yeah.
Especially in this. I laughed at a lot of his scenes.
He's great.
Yeah. Yes. Is there anything else that we can non-spoiler talk about?
Adam Warlock. He's in the trailers.
I like his character.
Yeah, me too. He's great. I think his characterization is really interesting as a freshly born superpower guy.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that a lot of his scenes were really funny. This isn't really a spoiler. He gets a sort of pet dog thing at one point.
He has a name. It's Blurp.
It's Blorp?
Blurp.
Blurp. Oh my god.
And he's voiced by D. Bradley Baker.
I don't know who that is.
He voices all of the clones in the Clone Wars, and also he
Oh.
voiced Morris in Shang-Chi, that little pig with the wings.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
So D. Bradley Baker voices Blurp.
Good stuff. I love Blurp. He's great. He pees on the floor at one point.
Yeah, apparently he's the same race of creatures. Apparently his race of creatures appeared in Guardians 1 when they're at the bar on Nowhere. And they're watching the Orlonis run across the table and see if they get eaten by that creature. Apparently they're the same type of creatures.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, the Orlonis are those little,
Yeah.
rat guys.
And then there was this...
The thing eating them was a lizard.
That's what I thought. And I guess this might be different, it might be like how monkeys look different, an orangutan, or not orangutan, a capuchin is way different from a baboon.
Okay.
So this might be the same kind of thing. But
Alright, whatever. It's sci-fi.
yeah.
You can't criticize it.
Blurp is very cute.
Blurp is great. Adam Warlock is great.
Lila, Flora, Teefs, those three are great. Really enjoyed seeing those guys. And I don't... The humanimals were good. Those are the race of creatures on the colony.
Yeah.
They were very interesting. Groot is good. I really like him.
I really like Groot in this. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there are a lot of comments that we'll have about Groot and
They're
spoilers.
finally using him well,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's so much more of a character, and he's more cartoony in this. In the original Guardians of the Galaxy, he looks like a walking tree.
Yep.
He's very, very tree-like. In this, he is like a cartoon character who is a tree, and I love that. It's so much better.
Yeah.
And there's something I really want to say, but it's a spoiler.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else that we can say without spoilers.
Watch this movie. It's good.
It's worth the price of admission. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Unless you are really, really don't like animal cruelty.
Yeah, that's true.
In that case,
if you can't stomach that,
Yeah.
this is not your movie.
Yeah.
We will not hold it against you.
Also, do not take your kids to this.
Yeah.
You can to most Marvel movies. I would say to this one, probably not.
I'd say there's an age limit. I'd say it's PG-13 for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is PG-13, right?
It is PG-13.
Okay.
This was in the trailers. I quite liked the F-bomb placement.
What? Okay, I remember there being an F-bomb. I remember it being really funny. What was it?
It's when Peter's in the car and Nebula's trying to open the car door.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. It was such an excellent use of it, too, because
Yes.
you could use it for, flipping off the villain or whatever, but it's way better to just be Get in the car!
Yeah, so this is Marvel Studios' first F-bomb from a Marvel Studios production, because they've said it a couple of times in the shows. Yeah.
Wow.
But Marvel Studios specifically, this is their first F-bomb. So,
Good use of it, too.
I agree, and that line was improv from Chris Pratt.
No!
Yeah.
No
it was
way!
Improv. Yep. And they kept it in. And
The
I really
first
liked it.
F-bomb in Marvel history
Was improv by Chris Pratt.
is an improv line by Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Legendary.
Yep. This is along the same lines of in the first Guardians where they go to visit the Collector and he drops the orb. He didn't plan to do that, but they kept it in.
Oh my god. I love his improvs. They're so good.
Yeah. They are good. And I really enjoyed the placement of this F-bomb.
Yeah.
And there's not like a huge emphasis on it either. He just kind of says it and it's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
I also apparently found out that there's a restriction on F-bombs in PG-13 movies. Like I knew
You can only have one per movie, right?
Yeah, that's not the one I'm talking about, though.
Oh.
The restriction I'm talking about is the F-bomb has to be at least an hour into the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't realize that.
An hour into the movie and there can only be one.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Why?
Because they don't want to turn away kids who might see the movie and then leave after the first F-bomb.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, they want people to be wrapped up in it first. But yeah, I think that we're good to move on to spoilers.
Yeah, I'm ready for spoilers.
So if you don't want spoilers, you need to click off in 5.
We will be spoiling it.
3, 2, 1.
Everybody dies.
Everybody dies. James Gunn blows
so
everybody up.
sad. I can't believe it.
That was actually one of the most surprising things about this movie was how the fuck did everybody make it out of this movie alive?
Yeah. We were predicting going in that there was going to be at least one character who died.
Yeah. Thankfully, it doesn't take away from the movie that everybody lived.
Yeah. Like, I feel like every character got at least one moment where I was like, oh my god, they're going to kill that character.
Yep.
And then it just doesn't happen.
I definitely thought that Star-Lord was going to die at the end when he's out in space.
And I thought Rocket was going to die. And I thought Drax was going to die. And I thought Nebula was going to die. And no, everyone's good. It's great. I love it.
And it's a very James Gunn thing to do where everybody thinks that something's going to happen and then it doesn't.
Yeah.
But it was...
The old switcheroo.
Yeah. It was very, very, like... It was very nice to see everybody alive, and it didn't take away from the movie that no one died.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really good. But I'm glad that Star-Lord will return. We might get another Guardians movie. I was right because James Gunn said
Guardians movie.
James Gunn said that this would be the last Guardians movie, and what I thought he meant by that was this will be the last Guardians movie of this version of the team, and I was right because the team breaks up at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I guess the new team consists of Kraven, Rocket is the leader, Groot, Alpha Groot is what
Big
he's
Groot.
called. Big
Yeah.
Groot, Alpha Groot.
The Kaiju Groot.
Well,
right?
the Kaiju, yeah, sort of. This is a actual full Groot because when he transforms into Kaiju Groot, he's all wiry,
stringy, yeah,
because he doesn't have the mass to be that, so he's all stretched out.
Yeah.
But at the end, he's actual Alpha Groot, and
I don't like it.
There's a video game called Marvel's Contest of Champions where they have a character called King Groot.
King Groot.
And he's basically giant Groot. He's got a big Groot mace on his hands, and he can breathe poison.
I don't like the Big Groot. I really like Buff Groot.
Swole Groot.
Swole Groot. Sorry, Swole Groot. Yeah. I really love Swole Groot. I don't like how big he got. I could see him returning to a similar size as he was in the first movie. That would be fine. Mm-hmm. But he is enormous. And I feel like that's going to be an issue for writers, having him have emotional moments when he's a giant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I did like the rest of Groot though in this movie.
Yeah.
Groot's basically an Iron Man suit. And it's kind of funny.
Yeah, when, like, being able to pull, like, you know, half a dozen guns and, like, grenades.
And he can fly.
Yeah.
And then...
not well, but he can fly.
Not well, but he can fly, yeah.
He can glide.
There's a point where he gets his head chopped off at the beginning of the movie, and he's just running around with the little legs.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
I think the implication is that when he did get his head cut off, his head got separated from the rest of his body, so he was able to reattach and be the same size.
Yeah.
Although
no, he did, like, have to, like, regrow his body, because remember he was all, like, spindly for a little while?
Afterward?
Yeah, there were a couple
was
scenes.
he?
There were a couple scenes where he was like a head with some vines, in the shape of Swole Groot.
Oh, I must have missed that. I don't know
Yeah.
how I missed that.
No, it's fine.
Interesting. Yeah, and...
I liked at the end when he spoke.
Oh, yes. The implication for that, because none of the Guardians seemed to be surprised that he said it, my implication is that in universe, he did say, "I am Groot." It's just we can understand what he's saying. And it's like we have now become a member of the Guardians team. That's really good.
Oh my god.
Really like that.
I didn't even realize that.
Because none of the other Guardians are surprised that he says, "I love you guys."
And I was really surprised by... Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am also very proud of James Gunn for resisting the temptation to put a line about family in there. It would have just sounded like Tom Toretto.
You guys are my family.
Yeah. We didn't finish going over the new Guardians team. It is
right.
Rocket, Kraglin, Alpha Groot. There's one of the Star Children. Her name is Phyla.
Okay.
In the comics, her name is Phyla Vel. She's the long-lost daughter of Mar-Vell. But her name is just Phyla in here. And then Cosmo.
Do you think she's gonna show up in the Marvel movie, the Marvels?
I doubt it.
Okay.
Yeah, because she's part of the Guardians, so I doubt it.
Yeah.
But Cosmo, and then Adam Warlock.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm
That's the
really
new
looking
Guardians.
forward to seeing how his character, like, evolves and changes.
Yeah. I also felt very, very sad for him, and it was a very, very emotional moment when his mom dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so unceremonious, too, you know? She's just, like, kaboom, dead, gone.
And I love how he's this adult man, but he acts like a child.
Can we pause? My mom's calling me.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I'm so sorry.
It's all good. And we are back.
Sorry about that.
Yes, as we were saying, Adam Warlock, I love the fact that he acts like a child. He does that at a lot of points. Like there's a part where he first gets Blurp. He obliterates his first owner, and then he goes, "I don't like how he's looking at me. I feel bad now."
Yeah, and he's like, I don't like feeling bad. This sucks.
Yeah, and I thought that was very hilarious for his character.
Yeah.
Will Porter did an amazing job.
Absolutely. He definitely feels like, you know, like a prepubescent boy in the body of a god.
Mm-hmm.
The way that he just, like, accidentally annihilates people and is, like, kind of emotionally unstable.
Yeah. And then there's the thing of what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, he was pulled from his cocoon early.
Right. Yeah.
Because the High Evolutionary made the Sovereign, and then he pulled him out of his cocoon early to find Rocket. And apparently in the comics, Adam Warlock was made by the Enclave, and the Enclave just referred to Adam Warlock as him, like capital H-I-M, like God.
God.
But then the High Evolutionary did some things, and then he gave him the name Adam Warlock. So that was really funny.
Gotcha.
I appreciated the acting by Chukwudi Iwuji. I really think he does an amazing job as the High Evolutionary.
He was great.
Yeah.
He was so unabashedly, unforgivably evil.
Yep. And that part at the end where he gets his face torn off.
Well, we learn his face was torn
Yes.
off the whole time.
Yes.
But then, like, his fake face was taken off.
Yes, his fake face was taken off. That reminded me a lot of the Red Skull
Yeah.
from Captain America. But apparently, this is something that I didn't notice. He, like, when you see him originally when he's experimenting, he doesn't have a mask. He's got, like, a couple of nodes in his head, but he doesn't have a mask. I didn't notice this at first, and I'm kind of surprised that I didn't. But when Rocket escapes the lab, he, like, scratches at his face, and that's when his face gets torn to shreds, and then he gets the prosthesis over his face. I didn't realize that. I didn't put those dots together at first, and I feel kind of dumb for not doing that, but...
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I noticed it, but I completely, like, misinterpreted it. Now you're being
now
called.
I'm being called. 1 second. we'll be back in a second, guys.
I was talking about his, like, face thing. Anyway,
Yes.
we're back.
We're back.
So I saw in the, like, flashbacks, he didn't have his face, like, you know, sort of, like, stapled to his head like he did in the present. And so I thought that he just, like, was, like, modifying himself to be, like, more perfect or whatever. But no, he was literally just covering up his scratched up face.
Yes. And that leads us into the very emotional story of Rocket, Layla, Teefs, and Floor.
Oh my god.
It was so sad.
Oh no.
There's that moment when they escape the prison and Layla hugs Rocket and then she just gets
And then
shot
she
in the back.
dies.
Oh my gosh.
And then, like, he's shooting the guys that are trying to shoot him, and they're all missing, but they're hitting Floor and Teefs behind him.
It was so sad.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Like,
yeah.
holy
it was
crap.
such an emotional
Props to James Gunn for making me care about, like, fucked up animals.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. There's in the second movie when the Ravagers are on Contraxia, there's a little painting in Yondu's room that has a walrus, a mechanical walrus.
Wait,
And-
really?
Yeah, he's a character from the comics called Walrus. And it was retconned, I think, because James Gunn, I think, confirmed it to be Walrus. And then they changed Walrus's name to Teefs.
Gotcha.
I also love how they got their names.
Yeah.
It was very, very nice. And oh my
Layla's
gosh, it
the
was so
only
sad.
one with, like, a real name.
Yeah. Layla, Teefs, Floor, and Rocket.
But the way that Rocket chooses his name is so good.
Yeah. He wants to fly away with his friends. And
Yeah.
oh, when Floor is saying, Rocket, Teefs, Floor, go now. Oh, it's so emotional. And James Gunn did a really good job with the whole emotional Rocket's backstory of him being experimented on. And we find out that he's an actual raccoon from the Loomis Wildlife Center.
You know, for literal years in canon and in real life, he's been insisting that he's not a raccoon.
Yeah.
And then he's, like, getting his, you know, brothers and sisters or whatever, and it literally says common name raccoon.
Yeah. And he finally gives himself the name Rocket Raccoon at the end of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because originally when he gets captured in the first Guardians movie, when he's, like, being looked at by the Nova Corps, they've got, like, a database on him of, like, they mention the illegal, like, experimentation that the High Evolutionary did.
Mm-hmm.
And it also says that his home planet is Half-World, which I guess got retconned because his home planet is now Earth. Because he came from Earth. So I guess his home planet wasn't Half-World. But it's interesting to see just how much Rocket went through and why he doesn't ever talk about it. And I found it really touching that he has still carried around that key card that he built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
To free everybody. And I also found it very funny at the end when they free all the animals and they're all going towards nowhere. And someone goes, "I thought we were limiting ourselves to the higher life forms."
Yeah, and then it's like a stampede of like deer and ducks and stuff.
Yeah, there's like a emperor penguin too, and an eagle, and a panda bear.
And of course, armloads of baby raccoons.
Yeah, and it was just, it was good.
That was great. It was fantastic.
Yep. I really, really liked it. Let's see. What haven't we... Oh, we haven't talked about Gamora and Quill and the Ravagers.
Yes.
I think it worked really well that they didn't end up putting Gamora and Star-Lord back at the end of this movie.
I'm really glad they didn't do that.
I'm glad they didn't, too. I think that would have taken away from Rocket's backstory.
Yeah.
I like how Gamora is now. She's a Ravager, and I think that really suits this new version of her.
Yeah, she hasn't lost her, like, Thanos-induced brutality.
Right.
And I think that fits with the Ravagers really well.
And I love how they're now called the United Ravagers.
Yeah.
And it's fun to see because you got Sylvester Stallone playing Sakaar Gord. You have the Crystal Ravager. His name is like Mantrix or Manactrix or something.
Something like that.
Mainframe, which is that little floating head, who was originally voiced by Miley Cyrus in Guardians 2.
Yeah.
But she's now voiced by Tara Strong, who also voices Miss Minutes from Loki.
Oh, that's why she sounded familiar.
Yep. And
and then there's a sorcerer.
Yes, his name is Kruger. Okay. He's a Lem sorcerer. In the comics, he's actually Sorcerer Supreme from a different world.
Neat.
Yeah, but he like Doctor Strange portals it up, and he's also a master of the mystic arts. So that was really nice to see.
He can like cast emojis. Yeah, because he doesn't have a mouth.
Yeah, there are two people that we didn't see from Guardians 2 who were at the end. One was Alita O'Gord, who's played by Michelle Yeoh. She's Stakar's wife, and also Vig Rhames is Charlie 27. He was the big yellow dude.
Gotcha.
At the end of the movie. But yeah, I'm interested to know Martinex. That's his name. The crystal dude, his name's Martinex.
Martinex. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so it was nice to see them back together as like a Guardians team because they were the original Guardians of the Galaxy from the comics. Yeah. So that was really fun to see. Also, something I forgot to mention when we were talking about Rocket and his friends, Layla is voiced by Linda Cardellini, who plays Clint Barton's wife.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And Teefs is voiced by Asim Chaudhry. Asim Chaudhry, who voices Teefs. And then Flora is voiced by Michaela Hoover, who also played Nova Prime's assistant in the first Guardians movie.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that was interesting to see. Yes, also... last thing about the Ravagers. I loved the appearance of their new team and how they're all working together. And also, one of the Ravagers who's walking with them is played by Molly Quinn, who was previously on a show called Castle, which starred Nathan Fillion, and she played his daughter. So I just thought that was really funny that they're both in this movie. But yeah, so her name is actually they credit her as Molly. So she plays a character called Molly.
Nice.
It's really funny. Nice. Yeah. Other characters in this movie, Michael Rooker gets a cameo in this movie as Yondu. Yeah, when Kraven's trying out the Yaka arrow, and he sees Yondu. That was really nice because he voiced Yondu in the holiday special during the animation opening scene. So after he did that, he just came over and filmed a scene for Guardians 3, which was really nice. I love Michael Rooker, and Yondu was obviously a very big part of both Quill and Kraglund's life.
Yeah. I like that they're touching on that Yondu was part of people's lives other than Quell.
Right, yeah. And he was a huge part of Kraglin's life, too.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Kraglin was Yondu's, I'm pretty sure, best friend. And Kraglin, like, still is afraid of, like, to use the Yaka arrow. And then he finally sees Yondu and gets that confidence that he needs.
Yeah.
And I was... there. When Kraglin finally learns how to use the Yaka arrow correctly, I really wanted them to play a parody of the first song they played when Yondu does it in Guardians 2. When that big scene of him using his arrow comes out, they play what's that song called? It's a song by Jay and the Americas. Why can't I remember the name of the original song? I can only remember the name of the parody, which is called Here Comes My Arrow. Now that's going to bother me. But there's a YouTube channel called How It Should Have Ended.
Mm.
And in their episode of Guardians 2, they made a parody of the original song called Watch Out, Here Comes My Arrow. And they played that in their animated version of Guardians 2. And I was hoping that they were going to play it in 3, but they wouldn't because, I mean, it's a parody. Why would they play it?
Yeah.
But actually, I'm going to look it up because now it's bothering me that I don't remember what that name is.
Okay. Is it okay if while you're doing that I topic jump a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
So they had that emotional scene with the High Evolutionary and Rocket, like, ready to shoot him. But then they didn't. They did that superhero thing where, they fight their way through legions of, goons, and then when they get to the big bad, they don't kill him. And he does die, assumedly, in his ship.
Yeah.
Theoretically, he could come back, but, we can assume that he dies, but it doesn't have the emotional, payoff, and it just feels kind of hollow to me.
Yeah, that's a fair thing to say, I would say. I did find the name of that song. It's called Come a Little Bit Closer.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't remember the name. But I wanted that to play when Kraglin was learning how to use the Yaka arrow. Also, I really, really laughed at that scene where they're all playing poker. Mm-hmm. It reminded me of the dogs playing poker painting because Cosmo's there.
Yeah, I loved it.
It's Cosmo, Kraglin, Beezer Mikatakalock, who's the head of the band.
Yeah.
The broker from...
I love that the broker is just back. On nowhere. Yeah. There's no explanation. There's nothing. It's just he's just there in so many scenes.
Yeah. Broker is there, and he is played by Christopher Fairbank, who played him in the first Guardians movie. Mm. And it's really nice to see him back. Also, Howard the Duck was playing poker with them, voiced again by Seth Green.
Howard.
Yeah. And it was really funny to see Howard the Duck back there.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that he was.
I like that some characters are photorealistic. You look at a picture of Rocket Raccoon and he looks like a normal raccoon.
Right.
Same with Cosmo. She's literally just a dog. Uh-huh. And then
the duck.
He is not anything like a real duck, and I love it. It's horrible. Yeah. I love it.
It was just nice seeing all these random characters playing poker together. It was really funny. I also like the running joke of Kraglin not taking back that Cosmo's a bad dog.
Yeah, that was really funny.
I love how Cosmo's just so obsessed with him. She goes, I know you didn't mean it. Just take it back. Take it back. Why isn't he taking it back? And at the end, when Kraglin finally calls her a good dog.
Yeah.
Oh, it's emotional. And I like it.
Yeah.
I love
It's
Cosmo.
A funny joke turned into a genuine emotional moment.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about Guardians of the Galaxy is that it can walk the line between comedy and drama so well.
Yeah.
That it'll have me laughing my tuchus off and then crying the next scene.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Stellar movie.
Yep. What's his name? Geraldo de Villa plays Fitzgabanook, and that is significant because he was the Ravager who was the owner of Blurp originally.
Oh,
like the guy who got obliterated by Adam Warlock. But also, James Gunn puts a character named Fitzgibbon into all of his movies. So
why?
In the first one, the doctor who's attending to Peter Quill's mom in the hospital, his name is Fitzgibbon. In the second one, when Ego is expanding his planet, the officer who is helping with crowd control, his name is Fitzgibbon. In the holiday special, Fitzgibbon is the name of one of the female officers from the Beverly Hills Police Department.
Why?
Because he is friends with someone named Larry Fitzgibbon.
And he's just putting the name into everything.
All of his movies. So the Ravager's name is Fitzgabanook, which is Gabanock. Fitzgabanock.
Gotcha.
Fitzgibbanook. Yeah. But yeah, that was an interesting thing. Also, I thought Lambshank was really funny. Lambshank is like that like little purple alien with the horn. That, like, do you remember when Mantis is freeing all the Star Children and she opens one of the containers and she screams?
Oh my god.
Yeah. His name is Lambshank. He's voiced by James Gunn.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I love him.
This is, I think, the third thing that James Gunn has voiced, because he was a maskless Sakaran who was talking to Yondu in the first Guardians movie. He voiced the wristwatch in I Am Groot. And then he also voices Lambshank.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's really funny. That James Gunn was voicing Lambshank.
Call off your man.
Yeah. And yes, I was gonna say something, but I forgot what it was. It was something about Lambshank. Oh yeah, I just love all of these like ridiculous little animal creatures.
Yeah.
Because Lambshank is like, he's got like one giant leg and one tiny leg, and he's like wobbly.
It's this horrible little thing, and
yeah,
like why? Okay, part of me says, why even include this? What is the reason? The other part of me says, this is hilarious. I need this in every movie ever.
Yeah. Apparently, there's also there's this. Do you remember in the first Guardians movie where Drax calls Ronan to nowhere, and he goes like into that little communications tower, and he like pulls out the guy?
You will send a message for me.
Yeah, that guy he's saying it to. Apparently, he has a name.
Oh my god!
His name
is it Fitzgibbons?
No.
Okay.
It is Steamy Blue Liver.
Horrible. What? Why?
And he was also, so that's his name, and he's also in the holiday special, and he's in this movie too. It's like a background character.
Okay.
Troy Beecham also plays a drunk Nowarian, and that's significant because Troy Beecham, when the holiday special came out, because he's in the holiday special as well, people thought he was Mark Hamill.
Oh.
Because he looks a lot like Mark Hamill.
Great, yeah. Mark Hamill in Guardians of the Galaxy. That'd be great.
Yeah. Oh, another thing that I forgot to mention. Jennifer Holland, who is James Gunn's wife, plays an administrator in Orgo Corp.
Right, okay.
And do you remember the War Pig?
Yes! Yeah. Oh my god, I loved the War Pig.
She's voiced by Judy Greer, the same person who plays Ant-Man's wife.
Nice.
Yeah. Cassie Lang's mom.
Yeah.
So that was interesting too. Yeah,
I loved War Pig.
Yeah, he was really funny.
Yeah. I like the design, fantastic. The animation, fantastic. The way that it like rockets off into the sunset to go snatch Rocket, I guess. Was so funny because all of the wow, I can't speak today. All of the thrusters, instead of like being on the back or like on the bottoms of the feet or something, they're just like on the hips. And so it looked so funny taking off, and oh my god, I loved it.
Yeah. Another one was another thing that I really liked was the Hellspawn.
Yeah.
They're the like the little group of like I don't know how you would augmented animals that the
horrible little death
Evolutionary
machines
has on his ship. Yeah. So the Hellspawn event when they were initially woken up, my first thought was, this looks like a predator. Like one of the images is like a silhouette of him like opening his mouth and shrieking like one of the Hellspawn, and it looks like Predator, or it looked like a Predator, and I was about to be like, are we gonna get a Predator? Because that would actually be really cool.
Okay, that would be funny, and it would also be stupid.
Predator and Alien are owned by Marvel.
I mean, yeah, but
yeah,
like
there was a comic image of one of the xenomorphs on the Guardian ship. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if that went anywhere, but I just know that the image existed.
I think that's more of just like a little Easter egg.
Yeah.
Don't cross over Marvel and Aliens, please. Please, I beg you.
Yeah. I really liked the octopus, the giant octopus Hellspawn.
Yeah.
He was interesting. And that leads me to probably one of my favorite things about this movie. That long one shot of all the Guardians fighting in the hallway.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah. I am such a big fan of these like one shot like things. It reminded me of the first Avengers movie where like during the Battle of New York they have like that one shot that's going from like hero to hero.
Yeah.
And I'm just a really big fan of those takes. And they're really nice. I'm sure that there's cuts in there somewhere where they digitally
it's obviously not like a real one shot.
But I just love the style.
Yeah.
The
style is really nice.
Good. Yeah. Yes. Let's see. Anything else?
I'm trying to think of anything else.
Me too.
Orgo Corp.
Orgo Corp.
Really interesting. I'm a huge fan of like bioships and stuff. Yeah. I liked how all of their stuff was alive. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really neat. Also, really gross. Just all the time.
Yeah.
Horrible. Hate it. Love it.
Here's another fun fact. The pink Orgo Corp worker that they kidnap at the beginning, her name's like Ura. Remember, like Gamora's just like, I'm gonna kill you. I loved that joke, by the way. The running joke of like Gamora's willing to do anything and kill hostages, and Peter Quill keeps apologizing for like her, like he and I love the running.
I swear this isn't the plan.
I swear this isn't her. She's really a really nice person, but it's not her. It's a different version of her, and I love how he keeps like bringing that up.
He's so attached to someone who died. It's sad.
Yeah, and then she was actually Ura was played by Daniela Machinor, who played Ratcatcher 2 in the Suicide Squad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was interesting. I love how the running joke that Mantis just makes people fall in love with Drax.
Yeah, that is really funny.
You're going to be in love with him. And Drax is just like, oh, not again.
That part was played so well. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, gay jokes are kind of a minefield these days, and for good reason. I think that was done really well. Like, give me more gay jokes like that. It was funny. I loved it.
Yeah. I also just love how the Guardians team acts like a family, and they're all calling each other idiots and morons.
Yeah.
Even though they all love each other.
Oh, man.
I especially liked how they developed more the relationship between Nebula and Rocket. Because they were the only two Guardians left after Infinity War.
Yeah.
Because everybody else died. So they had a lot of time to reconnect while they were working for the Avengers.
They were chilling.
Yeah.
I love Nebula.
Yeah, she's really good in this movie.
She's amazing.
Yeah, and you can see how much she cares about Rocket.
Yeah.
And that's really nice. And, like, I love her new arm.
Her arm's really cool.
Her arm's cool. There's a scene in this where Adam Warlock just comes in and, like, crumples her into a ball, and then you can, like, see her limbs, like, reattaching themselves.
The way that she does that is so horrible, and I love it.
Yeah.
In the long hallway fight, that, like, happens to her mid-fight. Usually it takes her, like, at least a couple seconds to start repairing herself, but she keeps fighting and repairs herself mid-fight, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It is pretty amazing. But yes, and I did love that part. Nebula, I feel like all of the Guardians, except for Kraven and Cosmo, had really good development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Drax.
Yeah, even Drax. Like, his journey from, like, being a member of the Guardians, like, becoming a dad. Like, when Nebula, like, says that you weren't meant to be a destroyer, you were meant to be a dad, that hits so hard emotionally.
It really does.
And, like, a line like that shouldn't hit because it's corny, but it does hit, and it's really good.
Yeah, because, like, you know, his whole thing is like, oh my god, Ronan killed my family. I need to kill everyone he cares about.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, he was denied being a dad, and so he became a destroyer. And so now he gets an opportunity to be a dad again.
Yeah.
And, love it. And the fact that he could speak their language, and, like, nobody bothered to, like, ask him. I just,
And I love how he ends up dancing at the end of this movie. It's really nice to see him dancing.
Oh my gosh.
Because he makes that comment in Infinity War about there being two types of people, those who are dancers and those who are not. And he finally dances at the end. And there's also a joke in Guardians 2 about how his wife, before she died, would not dance at all.
Yeah.
Like,
she wouldn't even tap her foot.
yeah, she wouldn't even tap her foot. There was a deleted scene from Guardians 1, which I think that they should have kept in. It was Drax explaining his history with his family, and he said, like, he was explaining about his daughter and his wife and how they would take their daughter to the Forgotten Lakes of his homeworld and then play with her, and that was an emotional part that never got added, but I wish it had, because Drax is a pretty emotional person, although I doubt we're ever going to see him again, because Dave Bautista doesn't want to sit for 4 hours in a makeup chair.
Yeah, which is really understandable.
Yeah. But yeah, so I feel like everybody had some really good development. I guess even Kraglin had really good development at the end when he's, like, thinking about Yondu.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wish Kraglin and Cosmo were in this more. But who knows, maybe we'll get another Guardians movie with the new Guardians team, and apparently Star-Lord's coming back.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. When Peter Quill goes to visit his actual grandfather.
Yeah.
We find out that his name is Jason Quill, which is Peter Quill's middle name. And
right.
I really enjoyed that because it's the same actor from Guardians 1 and Guardians 2, and he's old now, and Peter Quill has this certain memory of his dad, even though, or not his dad.
His granddad.
His granddad. He has a certain memory of his granddad, like, abandoning him after his mom died, but...
Yeah, like, yelling at him.
Yeah, but, like, the thing that Peter didn't realize was that his grandfather was in grief, too, because he lost his daughter. And, like, the reason he shoved him out of the room wasn't to push him away, it was so that he didn't have to see his dead mother.
And it was to get him out of the way of the doctors who were trying to keep her alive.
But it was really emotional when he went to go see him at the end of the movie. I also thought it was really funny how the newspaper he has says Kevin Bacon tells all about alien capture.
Oh my god. That little tiny callback to the holiday special.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the holiday special, go watch it. It's really funny.
Yeah. That's great.
But yeah, that was a really funny ending, and I guess Star-Lord's going to be back. So that'll be interesting to see. But
I
yeah,
got nothing.
All right. I think that's it for me too. I don't think I.
It's good. Go watch it.
It's good. Go watch it.
Speaking of watching things.
Yes. We are going to move on to the watch list. What have you been watching?
I I went and saw a musical.
Really?
Yeah.
Which musical?
A lot of my theaters, a lot of my friends are theater kids. And so I got invited to, one, give them a ride, and two, go watch Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street. It was really good. I've only ever seen musicals at our college. And I think I've only actually seen one, which was Amelie. And so seeing Sweeney Todd, which I've heard things about Sweeney Todd forever, you know. Even since, like, you know, 8th grade, I would overhear theater kids talking about Sweeney Todd. I knew nothing about it. I knew absolutely nothing. And so going into it, I was really confused, and then I finally started to get it, and it's really good. The storytelling is cool. It's a good revenge story. 10 out of 10. And then the other night, I had a little bit of a movie night. We watched Metal Lords, which is on Netflix. It's a funny little movie about some kids in high school who one of them really wants to be a metal band. One of them is, like, kind of tacitly interested, and it just goes from there. It's pretty comedic. It's really funny in places. It's good, emotional. I like the writing. The trailer is horrible. The trailer is terrible because it's a great trailer for a movie that takes itself seriously, and Metal Lords does not take itself seriously. It is really funny. It's really good. Yeah, and then I also rewatched one of my favorite movies of all time, which is Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with Tom Cruise.
Very nice.
And I forgot her name, but she's really good. She plays Rita Vertasky. Yeah, Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow. It is so good. I don't want to spoil anything because literally anything I say about it would spoil something. It's good. Go watch it. It's a great action movie. Yeah. And that's it.
Nice. I finished Drake and Josh, finally.
All right.
I don't like it as much as other people do. I know a lot of people love this show. I just don't. Yeah. Miranda Cosgrove is good. Drake Bell is good. I don't like Josh Peck. I don't know why. He just seems like a very annoying character. I've also been continuing my Phineas and Ferb rewatch. I love Phineas and Ferb. It's just an amazing concept, and I cannot believe that this show somehow existed, but it's a great concept, and all of the songs are good, and they're stuck in my head constantly. I love Perry the Platypus, and Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and Candace, and Phineas and Ferb, and Isabella, and Baljeet, and Buford, and all the other minor characters that are in this, and Phineas and Ferb is one of the best kids shows ever, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I've also been continuing watching 911, 911 Lone Star, and Blue Bloods. A lot of first responder shows. Blue Bloods is working towards Aaron Reagan's rise to Manhattan District Attorney, which is an interesting thing to see because she's a good person and she has to navigate politics. And she has to decide whether or not to do the right thing or to help her campaign, and that's a really nice struggle that I love seeing. I also did end up rewatching Guardians of the Galaxy, Guardians Volume 2.
Oh my god.
Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, Thor Love and Thunder, I Am Groot, and the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, as well as the Legends episodes that came out before Guardians. I really, really enjoy the Guardians franchise. Thor Love and Thunder, maybe not so much, but definitely the Guardians movies and Avengers, and I Am Groot was a really nice spin-off animated shorts thing that Disney did, and it's very funny. I can't wait for season 2 of I Am Groot. But yeah, I think that's it. Over the summer, we won't be doing our regular podcast episodes. We have planned a couple of audio commentaries for the first 3 Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, which I have now figured out how to do, by the way.
All right.
So we can start recording those. So if the first 3 Spider-Man movies are now available on Disney Plus, which is nice. So
Good
that
stuff.
how that's going to work is we are going to start recording, and then we'll tell you when to hit play, and you'll watch the movie at the same time as us, and we'll make our comments on it as the movie's playing. That way, while you watch the movie, you can hear our thoughts on it and on the different scenes.
And it'll still work as an audio format. Okay, okay.
Yep. So that will be very nice. So we'll come back in... That'll be the next 3 months, and then we'll be back in September.
Yeah.
With our normal show.
Woo.
Thank you for listening to the first, season of Script Supervisors with all of this trailers and news and writers' strikes and reviews of Guardians and Shazam and Cocaine Bear. Cocaine Bear.
And D&D movie.
Yes, and D&D and everything else. It's been really amazing. Thank you to PLU and Laser. If you want to reach us at Script Supervisors Pod on Twitter or Instagram, and at scriptsupervisorspod@gmail.com.
Yes.
If you want to send us a letter. I'm still calling those letters.
Why?
If you want to send us a letter, feel free to send us a letter with recommendations or comments or anything that you want us to talk about.
Okay.
That wraps up the show for this month. Thank you.